Hey you all. Hi beautiful people, how are you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're watching, remember the replays are welcome. And today I had an arrangement to my setup, which is good. And if you remember last week, we were playing with this set of glitter watercolors that now I love. Had forgotten I had them. Got them on, let me see, I think 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, probably 5 years ago. Walmart. Our Walmarts here where I live, they really don't have a good selection of crafts or stationery. They don't even have skeins or yarn or something like that. So it's just like the basic supermarket. Very tacky Chinese clothes. But anyway, so I was playing with this glittery thing, and I hope that you can see this on camera later on. This is wax crayon. See where I have one of those. Okay, so wax crayon. And on top of that, this glittery watercolor. So these were our experiments with color pencil and then on top Inktense so you can activate. And I have been keeping this card because we're going to do that in the future. And probably later I'll show you what I'm going to be starting and working with, because I got a lot of things and I have got a lot of projects and I don't know exactly where to start, which is not necessarily good, right? You have a lot of projects, you have to organize them so you don't leave, let's say, a work in progress. Okay, let me see what I did here. Close this. Okay, we don't want that. And there you go. Sometimes I move my mouse certain areas and that's not good. Okay, so let me show you what I finished this week before I start coloring something else. So I've shown this book before that was to complete an order from Amazon. And I saw a couple of drawings that I didn't like. This was my first gray scale coloring book. And I was not really sure about it. On Instagram, you can get to see the before and after of the cat. Really big change. And probably this week, I'm going to be going back to this dog that has got more sketch feeling, but I still think that I can get a little bit more of colors. So I'm almost sure I got pastel chalk here, and then I have some colors. I'm not sure they are Prismas, but this was done on 2024. So I think that this could really look much better like this one. Even the eyes, I didn't do anything to the eyes, and the eyes, the moment I added the Prismas and the wax crayon here, they popped up, and also a little bit of acrylic on the nose. So this was one. And put this down. I'm going to organize the books as they go. And I also finished Cat in the Box. There you go. And I don't think you will be able to see the glittery thing that I added, but I'm going to move it. So in some of the shadows, I added glitter watercolor just because this is a cat dreaming. So why not? And after I have learned in the past week about cats being able to express themselves, and even some cats able to identify as different things. I'm really, really surprised. So adding glitter to a kind of fantasy cat is not really going to hurt anyone. And I started a small portrait of this man that comes here after the cover. Oops. And I'm going to put it close. There you can see him. Everything is with colors except for the eyes. The eyes are water-based markers, but everything is a combination of different colors. Not only skin colors, but some of the shadows have orange and blue, and the hair a little bit of gray and black, but not the creamy watercolors that we tend to use as base colors. The paper is thick enough, but it's not going to take any watery media here. I'm going to keep this with just colors. I couldn't do anything on my cat, so I couldn't work with this one. This is an image generated by James Stan. So he's very good at writing prompts. So this is artificial intelligence generated. And some prompt crafters, if we can call them like that, they're very, very good at establishing exactly what they want. And what I did was to add pinks, purples, violets, but I'm thinking, if the paper holds, I'm thinking to add some acrylic markers before I go directly to the blacks. And I'm going to keep some of the gray areas that we have here. And practically that's it. The castle and the trees, I'm going to try and keep them as black as possible. There is kind of fog or a little bit of very diffuse areas down here. And you can get to see that this is having a small little mistake that the author couldn't correct, because this cat has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 claws. So those are the little details that sometimes you do not notice until you are going into the detail of coloring. So no problem. I'm against paying for artificial generated images unless I find someone who has got a very, very good process on curating the images and they have little details or fewer mistakes. And I normally get my collection of images. And here I've got a big folder with images. So these images are artificial intelligence in some case, except for one page here or 2 pages that I have for coloring that they're coming from real artists. And what I want to do this week is to continue this cat, and I'm going to start today another portrait from this book. So if you want to stay and check what we're doing with this book by Christine Karen, then you can do that. When I start this one, I'm going to eliminate this extra bit that they have, because it's not good for coloring in a very reduced space. Then you can get to see my space limited by this. Okay, so I have to be very careful with what I manipulate. And what I was thinking, for this portrait was to start with some colors that are not that creamy as the prisms, so I can elaborate different shades of black. And I know that sounds particularly illogic, yeah, but not necessarily. Grays and blacks come in different hardness depending on the brand. So I'm using here the Starjoys, the Gold Edition, and they are in between creamy but hard, a hard tip. And with hair, practically there's no escape. You just have to go working with different strands. The same with fur. So every time you color hair, human hair or fur, you can add like a base layer, a coat. But then, if you want this to be giving you the illusion of something that is 3D, then you'll have to go and do this with strands. Okay. I normally break my speech because normally when I start coloring, it's like I get immediately into a flow zone. And for me, this is relaxing and it's also kind of a job. I illustrate, I get commissions for pet portraits. These last 2 years, I have not really taken commissions because I changed from part-time professor at university to almost full-time. So I'm like 3/4 full-time, not part-time or half-time, but a little bit more than that. So that's a lot of work. I went from having 2 groups with 30 students to have 3, plus admin things to do. So when you get into administration things and you have to work with objectives and things like that, you just don't have enough time for commissions or, now in my case, coloring. I'm also going to show you what I got yesterday, and it was just really crazy to say yes to accepting so many of those little things. But I think that I already have some ideas and I'm going to use a lot of those corks, wine ones. They're more or less this big. I'm going to show them later. Okay, so I've been watching videos from other friends in the box, creators, and they're just working also with very, very lovely coloring books and pages. I just don't have enough time to color during the week, but I try to at least color for 30-45 minutes every day, and then off to do errands, chores, and of course, lesson preparation, evaluations, and all that. That if you know somebody who is in the academic world, you know that teachers always take the job home. You have a lot of things to do. It's not just on-site job. I have like 5 hours in front of groups, but those 5 hours translate into probably 10 hours behind the scenes. Okay. Hello, Ambient. Thank you for coming. I know it's very early for you. Yeah, I'm 1 hour late. I think, no, I'm 2 hours. I'm 2 hours ahead from your time, but I also woke up at 5 a.m. and Central Time. because my cat was hungry and he was already making a mess. So I said, okay, cat, let's go and feed you. So, yeah, I love cats actually. And all my students know that I love cats. I only have two, but I love them. And every time I use Canva presentations or PowerPoint presentations, I have cats in there. I have my own drone cats, and I also get wallpapers with cats. I don't have examples here, but because I don't have my job computer here at home, I work using the cloud and OneDrive, so I have my computer that I use to stream. But if I need to do something with files or things like that, then I just go and use OneDrive or Google Drive. It all depends. Okay. So yeah, they're very curious animals, and I'm going to tell you a story of what I mentioned a little bit earlier, what I learned about cats this week, that I've been really, really surprised. Everything started last Saturday after I finished my stream. So I had my cleaning lady coming to help, and she normally starts cleaning on the second floor. Okay, and she takes more or less 2 hours to do the second floor. So, of course, I'm waiting downstairs and I was grading, but at the same time, I was having some breaks. And yeah, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of work when you're a teacher. And after school, oh my God, I've never tried that, but I don't like little kiddos. So, going back to the story, I found an Instagram account of a cat, and I hope this cat is a she. I hope she never listens to me saying that. But this is a cat, I don't know exactly where she lives. I think in Florida or somewhere there. That likes water. She uses these Fluent Pet buttons to communicate with her owner. Is one of those cats that are I don't know the breed, but they look like leopards or jaguars, so they are spotted. She's like 5 years old, so like my cat, and she can understand and use 110 words. And I was like, cool. I have seen other cats communicating. Having one was very, very fun because she was taught the word math. So she was math all the time. So, hey, what's going on? The owners were asking. And the cat was like, of course, you can see the body language. She was math. And she also used the button to confirm. And I have seen other cats pressing the buttons to ask for food, to go on a walk or go outside, and to ask a little bit about their main human. But this is the first time I saw a cat, this beautiful spotted cat called Flounder. And this cat swims, this cat likes water, this cat communicates with 110 words, and she identifies as a fish. So the videos or the clips that I saw on Instagram mentioned that once a visitor or somebody called her cat and she was very angry and offended because no, she is a fish. And she also loves Pocahontas. And according to the owner, her role model is to be Pocahontas. So the owner says, I think her name is Nina. So Nina says that she has to have all the time the movie played in the background when they are at home. And the cat actually understands who is Pocahontas, who is John Smith, and all the characters. And she has got a costume, like a small little suit made to the likeness of the Pocahontas um, costume in the Disney movie. And she loves wearing that dress. And I was really, really surprised. Have never imagined that a cat could be so smart to understand, first of all, movies, to understand a role model or to admire a role model. And of course, the most striking thing is that she thinks she's a fish. So, anyway, I decided to follow that account just to be very, very surprised by everything that she does. So, anyway, my cat is a Siamese. He's 5 years old, and he's also very intelligent. And I don't know, I really don't want him to be in the position of learning with the fluent pet buttons, because in a certain way I kind of understand what he wants, and he is very effective in communicating his wishes with violence, dropping things, of course. So now imagine if I taught him to use fluent pet buttons. I will have a cat speaking or screaming or yelling at me at 3 a.m. I'm hungry. Wake up. Fast. No, no. It's just too much. I'm very, very in awe, and it's very respectful of what the people who are using buttons for their cats and dogs. It's very interesting what they are doing, but certainly I don't want to be part of that experiment. My other cat is 15 years old, so she's not really interested in anything but playing, sleeping, and eating. And of course, if I'm at home, she's normally with me most of the time. So, yes. So imagine if I'm already tired with 90 students, college students, and then I had to come home and have another student here who will be very demanding. No way. But that's a little anecdote that I wanted to share. If you want to find this little cat on Instagram, you can. Let me see if I can type her name in the comments, and I hope I don't knock my camera, but okay, I'm going to put, this is the, oops, sorry, my hand is going to go because I cannot type. And I'm going to put, this is the Fitch Cat Instagram. So there you go. You have it there. If you want to have fun with talking cats and dogs. Because the moment you follow that account, then a lot of fluent pets are going to appear. Okay, so as we said at the beginning, I'm using the Starjoy Gold. So here you have got a color that is not really soft or very hard. It's very easy to work with. This is my working set for coloring books as well and coloring pages. I also have my Prismacolor Premiere working set. I have another one. I have the 150 set, but it was still labeled as Barrel Prismacolor. So I'm not using that set that much. I only use it for commissions, probably. But there you go. And what I like about this black is the harness. And I also use a lot the juniors. I got this to test them. I got this set that has got colors on different sides. So in reality, your color is more or less this long. But I have had this one for around 5 years. No problem. Have a lot of different sets. The good thing about the juniors, if you get them, is they don't have a kind of a big variety of tones. But I think that if you get a 24 or 36 set is more than enough for coloring books. I wouldn't use this for commission work. It's just for coloring books and pages that you're going to keep in your books. Definitely. If you take these and frame them or display them when there's direct sunlight or something like that, I don't think they're going to last too much. Especially in general, the majority of the brands, the artist quality brands like Caran d'Ache or Polychromas or Prismacolor or similars, they have very, very good light fastness, so they can really hold on display conditions with light, sunlight, or artificial light. They can really, really hold. The problems in all the brands, what I have seen, um, the problems are the violets, the purples, the lilacs. These colors tend to go to orange after 6 or 1 year on display, and it doesn't matter if it's artist quality. So you can get to see on YouTube people like Sarah Renee Clark. She did, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, a very, very detailed experiment and recording of results of a lot of color pencil brands. And she finally got the sets that she recommends for light fastness. But I do remember that the pinks, the violets, the lilacs were the problems in a lot of sets. Okay, so I started earlier today because I had been grading before. Still have to type in some more grades, but I still have a due date tomorrow. So I think I'm going to wait until later today or early morning tomorrow. I'm also planning to stream tomorrow. I have not programmed my session, but if I do stream, it's going to be around midday Central Time. So more or less 1 p.m. Eastern Time if you're watching from the East Coast. And short sessions. I really want to have sessions like 40, 50 minutes so they can be very, very easy to watch and follow. So I think this one is going quite to the things I like to do. And let me see if I can find on this set nice color. Yeah, I keep everything in bundles with rubber bands are fantastic. I'm trying to find kind of a brownish color or something like that. But let me see if... Okay, I'm going to use the skin colors that have more browns. And I want to get a dark. Okay, this sienna could be good. And maybe this one that is the good earth for the trees that I have in the back. I don't want them just to be uh, black, flat pieces of branches or trees. I think that the beauty of having coloring pencils is that you can work and make it a paper towel. You can get different textures if you know how to shade. So the background is pastel chalk and pencils. So I'm just going to go and add a little bit of brown to the branches here to add this bit of texture. I'm not indenting the paper. I could, or I could have, but this one is very, very thin. So if I want to indent this for texture, I'll do it after adding this little bit of brown. And then I'm going to take kind of have foam here. Okay, let's see. Because these areas are a little bit confusing now that I have added the chalk. I have the original file on my Google Drive. So if you're interested, leave me a comment and I will be adding more images to that drive if somebody wants to do this practice and have body coloring. That would be cool. Okay. So I have here a little bit of brown. Let me add some dark. I mentioned that I didn't want these just to be black plasters. Why? Because anyway, we not only have the moon here as a backlight, that's why some little hair strands, fur strands are kind of white, and also this little bit at the bottom. But the cat is also having front illumination. That's why we can see the nose, the eyes, a little bit of the whiskers, and the claws. So we have two sources of light. Okay. Hi, Jen. How are you? Yeah, right. Well, I think if you want to get this picture to color alone, you can go back to my January 1st stream and there's a link, a Google Drive link, and you can get this image. It's not my image, it's of course given for free. It's by James Stan. So there you go. And let me see, let me find if I can drop a little things here. Okay, I have some foamy here that we normally use for crafts. Okay. We call this foamy in Mexico. And I'm going to show you what you can use. Oops. Okay. There are 3 items that you can use for what I'm about to do here. First of all, keep in mind that your paper is very, very thin. You can use a crochet hook, especially a very, very small one. This is too big, but it's just an idea. Okay, I have smaller ones, but I don't have them here. So use one that is very thin, very small in number. This is a 2.5, but probably a number 1, or I don't know, something very, very small. You can also grab ballpoint pen and make sure it's dry, that there's no ink left, and you can use it. Or you can use these tools that are for foil and kind of graving or indenting a little bit of the textures, and then you're just going to go very, very softly on top of kind of a foamy surface. You can, if you don't have this, you can put a stack of paper, but make sure it's soft enough. But don't press that much. Keep your light-handed pressure, okay? A very, very light-handed pressure, because we don't want to break the paper. We just want to indent the paper a little bit. So when we add the dark colors, the black colors, I'm not indenting the outline. I could, but I don't want to. But if you want to test that, that would be fantastic. Just go and do small little movements. This, of course, isn't going to appear on camera, but you will be able to see that. And of course, the back of the paper, I think you can see it. Yeah. Keep it light. Remember, the paper is very thin. If you have watercolor paper or something that is really thick, you can add a little bit more pressure, and you can play with the pressure that you use. On thick paper, you can do light, medium press or indentation, and it would look very interesting. You can do this in different ways as well. You can start with complete white paper, and that will keep the whites, and that would be a good idea for the whiskers, little bits of hair. That's why I have not painted much of these white areas, because I'm going to be doing this with the cat. But I need to be more careful. That's why I'm starting with the tree, because the tree is part of the background. So it's not really that important if I mess up my background. I need to get another one of these because this one is very thin, but eventually after some time these things get damaged and you can just throw them away or use them for something else. But this is a very, very fun way to work with threes, textures, because you can do cross-hatching with this method that I'm showing to you. And I don't know, there are different ways that you can play with indentation. So I do hope that you follow this tip, that you like it, that you experiment with your books, that you use your coloring books to have fun, not just to be perfect. That's the most important thing. The way you play with your books, because anyway you are the owner of the books, so you decide what to do with them, is totally up to you. If you want to tear the papers out and work them separately, you can do that. If you want to keep the papers or the pages inside your book, you can do that. I normally do that. I don't like to tear apart my books. Or later, if I forget to add the name of the artist, then I'm going to have problems. So I'd rather not. Okay. And for the whiskers, I'm going to try and put this here. For the whiskers, I normally try to be spontaneous, but you need to have a very, very good control of your hand, good pulse, and these areas that are still very light with not a lot of color pencil, I'm adding the little bit of hairs, the eyelashes, for example, or this part under the the cat's eye. So I can keep, in this case, not the whites, but some of the grays that I have here. Be patient. This is not fast. Don't believe TikTok or the shorts with these people with perfect nail art, and then they show you like different phases of their coloring. I'm totally convinced that the person whose hands appear on the screen is not the same person that colors. It's probably a team of people, at least 2 or 3 people producing those videos and trying to deceive you into thinking that, oh, this is so fast and easy to do. Not necessarily. You can even do a little bit of pointillism, but keep it, remember, very light. We don't want to go and poke through the paper. No way. All right. Hi Adele, welcome. Thank you very much. This sketch is by James Stan. I got it from a Facebook group of free coloring pages. If you want this sketch and play along or color along, you can find it on my live stream from January the 1st. There's a link to Google Drive where you can get this image and other 2 images that will be coloring. One is already colored, but there's still one more image there. So as this is not my page, I share it like the original author did in a very, very gentle way. He shares. I have not seen him very active in the group, but well, it's not that I go on Facebook for long hours and kind of scout all the groups where I'm in. Not really. But there you go. So I'm going to turn this. I don't know if you'll be able to see how the paper is getting scored and indented. So that's why we are preserving a little bit of the white hairs. And then you can go through your paper with your fingertips, and then you can feel where you have scored the paper. And then my recommendation is just don't get so excited about scoring and do one area and then go to another. Not so hard. Haven't done this one. So I'm working with my studio light only. I can get to see the difference here. Okay, I still have the nose missing. So here I'm just doing very, very small little fur hair strands here. And I'm just moving my paper to see where I can indent a little bit more. If you make a mistake on your coloring book, don't worry. Just choose another page. Mistakes are for learning. We are not perfect the first time we do this. And if this is the first time you're watching, I invite you to subscribe, to follow, and share. And here we don't have memberships, we don't have Patreons, we don't have any kind of paid content. I'm a very, very small channel, so I don't do reviews with gifted products or brands that want to get advertised, because I think that's not fair for somebody who is beginning in the coloring community. Because if you get sponsored or paid or helping in your monetization or something with your channel, you're not giving honest reviews. They give you the product, they gift you a product, a big set. And then, of course, you have to say something good about the brand, right? Even if you hate it. So, no, everything that I show here and that I mention is because I have bought it with my own money. And if I recommend a product, it's because I have used it and because it works. And then I'm showing you how to use the products, not to be afraid of a certain type of paper because it's very thin or because it's not good enough. You can actually do a lot of beautiful things with very cheap paper. Okay, so I'm trying to keep myself on top of my foamy kind of page surface. There you go. But this is just to give an idea of what you can do with tools like crochet hooks or these tools to score things, ballpoint pens. These are fun things to work with. And then I'm not going to change before I show you more or less how this looks like. So remember we did a little bit of the tree. So now I can go with a soft pressure, adding this dark color. I'm going to also pull this up on camera so you can get to see it. Okay, I'm just working with certain areas. Let me go and grab a black. Okay. And let me see. I hope you can see this because I don't see if my camera is picking this up. But certainly, if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to get to see photos of what we did today. So there you go. So I'm almost 1 hour in the stream, and this is going to be looking really good. I don't have a lot of things to evaluate this weekend, so I'm tempted just to sit down and color after I finish my house chores and do my errands. But I know that that might not be possible because, yeah, we are in midterm exams, but for us it's final exams because our courses are just half midterm, and then we have a final exam, and then we start a course again on March the 10th. So, mentioned that I was going to use this one, Christine Karen's. What is the name? I cannot pronounce this. I say wonderful folk. Complicated spelling and pronunciation if you are not a native speaker, and I'm not a native speaker. So I did this one in January. Background with acrylic paint, matte acrylic paint, colors, combination of Prismacolors, Starjoys, some water-based markers, and I want to start this one. So this is going to be the page to work a little bit. Let me get a clip of some sort to help me with my page so it doesn't flit back. So let's see if this is going to help a little bit. Okay, I'm going to try not to knock my camera. And for this one, I want to experiment something totally new. So I'm going to grab pastel chalk. These are Faber-Castell chalks. but any will do. Don't worry about that. This set has been with me for 4 years, 40 years. Yeah, I think 40 years. It was a gift from my dad when he first discovered that I was really, really into art. So we went to this very fancy stationery store and I chose this because I already have Prismacolors. So I discovered the Prismacolors quite early in my life. So love them. What I want to do here, and this is an experiment, and if we mess up, doesn't matter. We have lots of pages, lots of books. I'm going to work with fantasy skin combinations. So I'm going to add a base layer of yellow all down his skin. And I'm going to start right now with the face. I'm going to leave the hand for later because I just want to show you something. We're going to be working with complementary colors. So if you have a color wheel and you find a yellow, yes, Jenny was very nice. He still, when we go to the mall or something and we go through the art stores, he's always like, don't you want something? Of course, at 14 years old, I was not able to buy a lot of expensive art stuff, right? But right now, I buy my stuff. So I always say, oh no, thank you, Dad. I have everything that I need. But he's still very thoughtful. He's going to be 90 in March, very soon, in 15 days, actually, more or less. So don't be afraid to work with complementary colors. I'm adding the base layer of yellow because anyway, this is an angel. So we really don't know if angels are having the same flesh color as we have, right? Maybe yes, maybe not. We don't know. I've never seen one, so I cannot tell if an angel is having normal color, any color. So we're going to paint this guy yellow, and then all the areas that we have, all the shadows that we have here on the neck, the jaw, chin, nose, even the eyes, they are getting yellow. You can use a Q-tip. Now we're going to go to the opposite color of the color wheel. You tell me, what is it? Purple and lilac. That's what we are experimenting here. The previous image that I've shown, the girl of the dragons, I created her skin using green, red, and a little bit of brown ochre. In Spanish we say ocre. So I suppose same pronunciation or similar. I suppose it's from French, so we don't know. So yeah, this guy is kind of looking like he's having a serious case of hepatitis, but he's an angel. So when you add your base colors, you can go for watercolor, not with a lot of water. You can use Inktense colors and activate them with little water. You can use chalk pastels, like in this case. And it's picking up a little bit of the ink from the printing. Just a little bit. So you can just rotate your Q-tip so you don't smear all the ink down. but I'm not really pressing hard. What I just want is the color to go and create this base layer. I think that even the lips are going to have a little bit of yellow. So I'm just grabbing the color here. The hand, I'll do it later. And we can choose a purple lilac from any color set that you have. There you go. And we can have fun with this and start adding some shadows. Let me see if I can kind of fix this so it doesn't look too much. Okay, there you go. So I have these two colors. I have this one that is mauve and violet, and then I have this one that is plum that I'm going to use for darker areas. And this is live on camera. So let's have a drum roll, please. If we made a mistake, too bad. We'll have to finish it up. So I'm going to start with the violet, and I'm just going to go and start adding the dark shadows here. And it's going to turn into a gray. That's what complementary colors do. They complement each other and they create shadowy areas or color effects. And these shadowy areas that you do with the complementary colors look much better than just going and use black or gray. So you can create a kind of a softer effect. And remember, the rest of the skin is going to keep this yellow thing, this yellow coat or base color. And we can add skin color later on. I don't have skin colors here. No, I don't. I was just thinking about this. I have pinks. Let me see if my Star Joys save me. Okay, here we have the skin colors. So let's try something not that pink, but this very, very light peach. And let's see what happens. According to my experience in color theory, it shouldn't be that bad when we go with a light one or an orange one. Okay. So the only thing that we're doing is kind of making this yellow color that we added not that yellow. So this one's good. It's a very subtle effect. Remember that these images are very small and sometimes the camera cannot pick up everything that we have here. But we have this kind of underlayer. We have already the violet. Yeah, it's violet. Let me take away the mauve so I don't get confused. And we're just going to have a very, very strange looking angel, but as we said, it's an angel. So why it should be fleshy? Or why should an angel represent a certain ethnicity? I think all ethnicities are beautiful. And we are represented by so many beautiful colors around the world that we should be proud of that, right? So I kind of like how this is looking. So let me put this up. The ear and the forehead have got light peach, and I have got the violet, the dark areas from the base of the hair to the ear. And I'm kind of moving the camera so you can get to see how it goes. Okay. So this is something that I'm going to continue working during the day. And tomorrow, if I stream, I'm going to go and continue with this. So as this one has got pastels, I'm going to put something to protect it. And as I mentioned, this girl has got her skin with green, red, and a little bit of ochre, a little bit of brown ochre. So there you go. And what else to close this stream? What else I'm going to be working with? Well, so this week I got 2 sets of hunters, and I love these things. And I have a lot of different figures. I have like 5 different figures, but I wanted circles, so I got this set from Amazon. It's tiny circle to a big circle, big enough. And then I also got a square one, and a post stamp. So I'm going to be playing with different things and textures and kind of punch different type of papers to see what I can kind of work with. And yesterday, one of my colleagues sent us a message, and he said, "Oh, I have a complete bag or container, I don't know, of these things." I'm going to move this away so you can get to see how many I got. And he got, there were like thousands of these things. So look at this. This is fantastic. And I think it's real cork, because you can get to see here the wine stain in some cases. Some of them seem artificial. So I have to go and sort out the ones that are real cork and use the artificial ones for something else. I don't think I have many of these. This looks too soft to be real, but who knows. And one of my coordinators, she likes to drink wine like every week. This one is real. And she said that, "Oh, if you want more, I can bring you more." I said, "I think this is more than enough." But anyway, I'm going to do a pencil holder. So yesterday I used some corn. I had some yellow corn here. So I think what I'm going to be doing is gluing some of these. I'm going to protect first the inside, and then I'm going to be gluing some of these corks, probably just slice a little bit. Who knows? Let's see what happens. Okay, so if I get to finish this week, I'll let you know. I'm actually going to put this one inside. And I think I'm going to stop my stream for today. So thank you very much if you stayed here for the complete session. If you're watching the replay, don't forget to leave a comment. Tell me if you want to see more coloring experiments or tips, because that's what I like to do. I like to grab my coloring books, papers, and all the material that I have and experiment. And sometimes I get to learn a lot of new things. And if that is the case, then leave a comment. So thank you very much for coming. I'll see you around in different streams if I can. Okay, if I'm still here. So bye for now. So thank you. Bye.